Okay, two kittens that have rediscovered the Oracle. It's amazing what two kittens can do when you clean the house and they have floor space to play with. Anyhow, I decided to make you one of these just because it's about as professional as I can get without a clipboard and a pencil behind the ear. That's old school. Now, with the internet, World Wide Web becoming popular, that was not supposed to replace the pen. That was just supposed to be an add-on, not a replacement. Oh, a lot of us artists are missing out on a lot. I wonder if that has to do with the work shortage, because back in the day, you were worried about being labeled an extra, and you know, which makes plenty of money, but it's about, we want to be seen on TV. We want our 15 minutes of fame. And you're worried that you're not going to get your 15 minutes of fame, and you're going to get labeled an extra when you get too much extra work. But, that was what we were stressing about. Certainly not about money. Now, I had checked to see, did the filming industry move? I mean, it is scattered. It used to be more concentrated in L.A., but apparently L.A. is still the filming industry capital. So this replacing paper and pen with internet, I wonder if that has something to do with it. Because like I said, when I was on an extra gig, and the band on stage, they were explaining they were a real band, and but in order to see them, you have to know how to scan a QR code. As the bass player was, really happily held out her phone to anybody who wants to scan the QR code can scan the QR code. But then it's up to us to remember. And and then the car breaks down, and then the cat bills over and hits a frayed wire, and now you got an electric wire. And what was the name of that band? So back in the day, before all this computer stuff took over, bands carried a clipboard, and anybody who flirted with you, smile, any kind of interaction whatsoever, there's some kind of friendly interaction going, and then you say, oh, by the way, I'm a musician. Would you like to get on my mailing list? In fact, there was this one band called Platinum. I don't know what, because I got on their mailing list, and 8 months later, I got a Christmas card from them. And that was one band that, I only saw them once, but, I really, and it wasn't often that, because, back, especially in the 80s, we just wanted to jump their bones. I was able to understand the words to their songs, even though I'd never heard them before. And I didn't even get any news from them about them playing local in their hometown. I think they were from Philadelphia or something. So God only knows what life threw them. And they tried their darndest. The best they could do was send everybody Christmas cards. And, to try to hang on and hope to get back on track. But again, that's what the mailing lists are for. You never know what life is going to throw you. You might find yourself out of commission for 2 years. If you can at least send everybody Christmas cards, for no matter how long it takes, and then you finally get, back to planet Earth, there's that mailing list. It works. And, if it's a local band, it becomes almost like a traveling local pub. This goes for, the artists who are performing, and in LA, we're going to be playing for a bunch of actors and out-of-work actors and out-of-work photographers before we're going to get a room full of yuppies on their days off. So, now if you go around the clipboard, they're going to look at you like you're from Mars. So, tablet. I'd go with a tablet. It looks more professional than than a cell phone. And I I would like to eventually bring the clipboard back once we make this concept user friendly again, because something about writing things by hand, because it's human energy. And like, how do you spell your name? And you're like, the person correcting you if you misspell it. And it keeps the conversation a little longer. Creates a bond. You're gonna remember them better than taking a photograph and putting that picture next to their name on your call log. Something that there's a magic to writing things with your hand. AKA, is perhaps the pen still mightier than the sword? Maybe even mightier than the cell phone. How many cars did you see on the street within the past year, sign in the window, for sale, $800, $1,200? Now try to find a car for that price, a secondhand car for that price on the internet. Ain't gonna happen. It's not that people aren't posting; it's everything's getting lost, and literally, it's getting lost in the sea. Because so much like I was trying to find a detective, and I just kept finding a bag full of POSs. Was it not supposed to replace the yellow pages, but just be an additive? So, I make similar, what I call black videos. This is something I make for a student of mine, my best student, my only student. And that would be because this teenager approaching manhood did something so stupid, I've been yelling at him for over a year and a half now. And you know what he did that was so stupid? He listened to his parents. That's my little joke. If you knew what his parents told him and are still telling him to do, you would want to befriend, not yell at him, but befriend him. Just because running away was an option for me. At least I had that option. Anyhow, hopefully we'll all come together in one of these venues where everybody just follows a specific band from place to place just so that they can see their friends. And it basically becomes almost like a traveling local pub. It's a small following, but a steady one. See, in New York, you don't pay to play, but if you don't bring enough head count, they're not going to rebook you. So we be, trying to pull in friends from our friends just to get that. You have to bring at least 25 people if you want to get rebooked. So it's a struggle to bring the 25 people. It's not the same if you buy 25 tickets and be playing for nobody but the other bands and their girlfriends. They're not going to rebook you, even if you paid for the tickets. No, they want head count. So that's the pressure over there. Austin, Texas, you'll never find a place more supportive of local musicians in Austin, Texas. There's even, if you're a musician and you lose your instrument and you're not making much money, there's a place where you can sign up for free instruments. Everything from an acoustic guitar to the electric violin. So, that's Austin. So, LA is kind of similar. Here you pay to play, and you might be performing for nobody but the other bands and their girlfriends. But they'll rebook you as long as you pay. So, go figure. That's why most artists see New York and LA, and the rest of the country in between is a bridge. Speaking of bridge, this is all about bridging the gap. So, call me back.